Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Tori. Today I'm going to be giving you a May TBR. But Tori, you said you weren't doing any TBRs anymore, and that's true. But this one's a little bit of a special video. So far in 2024, I've been pretty much leaning on my buddy reads, book club, and mood reading vibes, and I haven't really been doing TBR videos, and it's been kind of nice, to be honest. But I knew that there were a few books that I wanted to save specifically for May 2024 because it's my birthday month. And in my birthday month, I'm throwing out every single obligation I have. I have no buddy reads. I am putting a pause on the Cosmic Footsteps book club for this month, and I am only going to be reading books that have been either sitting on my TBR and taking a back burner to everything else I've been reading for a while, or books that I have been really excited to read that I've been kind of saving for my birthday month specifically. I'm really excited to share these with you guys. So if you want to call this a TBR video, it kind of is, but it is a specific birthday month bonanza where I'm going to talk about the books that I am going to be reading this month, and I'm very excited about them. So one of the ones that I've been talking about for quite a while that I've been planning on reading here in May for a really long time is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien, because this is going to be my 33rd birthday. What better time in my life to read The Hobbit for the first time than when I turn 33 and have my Hobbit birthday? I'm officially an adult now. So I have never read any of J.R.R. Tolkien's books, with the exception of about half of the Silmarillion that I read ages ago, and that's the only reading experience with the Lord of the Rings universe that I have. The Hobbit is something that obviously is gonna be a pretty easy read, I think, and I'm really looking forward to just cozying up and having a read of a story that I'm familiar with on the surface level, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what the book is about, because I know that this book means so much to so many people, and I'm really looking forward to experiencing it myself for the first time. This is just the perfect opportunity to do that. So The Hobbit is one of the books I will absolutely be reading here in May, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to finally be able to say that I have at least read one of Tolkien's books all the way through. Next up is one of my favorite books of all time, my favorite fantasy novel of all time, and that is Dead House Gates. And I am showing you guys my absolutely trashed version of the mass market paperback, because this was the first book, this exact version was the one that I read over 10 years ago when I fell in love with it the first time, and this book completely exploded my excitement for fantasy and as both a reader and a writer. And I learned so much about what was possible in fantasy from this book and this series in general, but Dead House Gates holds a very special place in my heart. I love it, and I'm really excited to read it again, you guys. It's been over a decade since I read this, and I still quote it to people on a regular basis. And I'm really interested to see how my experience changes or is similar to the first time that I read it. It's time for me to get back into Dead House Gates, because one of my big goals for the year is to make some good progress reading Malazan and getting further into the series, because I love the first 4 books so much. They have been such a pinnacle, foundational influence on me as a writer of fantasy that I just am really excited to go back now as a much more experienced epic fantasy, adult fantasy reader, and get back into the series. So Dead House Gates is the next one up on the list. Beyond that is another book that I have been anticipating for quite a long time. I finished my reread of the original 3 Red Rising books, and I am ready. I am finally ready to move on to Iron Gold. I am very nervous to get back into this series because I love the first 3 so much. I can hardly stand it. If you've been around my channel for longer than 5 seconds, you know that I mention Red Rising at least every 5 minutes in a video if I possibly can. And I have no idea what to expect. I mean, I kind of do, because I know Pierce Brown as an author fairly well at this point, so I have my predictions. But I'm really nervous about getting back into this, and I know that Pierce Brown is going to murder my heartstrings in this series. So you know what? Let's just armor up and get in there. Now those were kind of the three main staples that I wanted to make sure I got to here in May, and outside of that, I have a couple books here that I've been saving for a rainy day. I've been reading a few of those as we've gotten into 2024. I read Sword of Kaigen, I read Blood Song last month, and both of those were books that so many people had told me I was gonna love, and they were right. And I have a couple other books that I've been sitting on for a while that I'm really looking forward to, that I've also been told that I'm going to absolutely love. And so I'm really going to try to get to at least one, if not both of these in May. I'm optimistic. We'll see how it goes, but I do think that I'll be able to get through at least one, hopefully two. And those are Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and Nomads of the Sea by Kobe Zucker. Now this will be my second Adrian Tchaikovsky read. I have read his short novella Ogres prior to this, but this book, if I had $1 for every time somebody has told me that I need to read this book and or I remind them of the main character in this book, I would be able to fund my next novel, because apparently I'm going to love this, and I don't doubt it. I very much trust the people who keep telling me that. And I'm excited. I'm excited for a little flintlock action. I'm excited for a female main character. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Adrian Tchaikovsky can do in a full-length novel. And from what I've heard, this is pretty bingeable. And I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a little bit of a switch up from the more ancient or medieval style fantasy that's going to exist in the other books I'll be reading. And then I've got a little sci-fi with Iron Gold, and then this will give me a little sprinkling of Flintlock. It's going to be a great combo, I think. The other one, as I mentioned, is Nomads of the Sea by Kobe Zucker. This is another chonker. This one, my very good friend Kay from Kay's Hidden Shelf has read this book and absolutely loved it. She has mentioned this book to me so many times, and she has been patiently waiting for me to read it. And she keeps telling me I'm gonna love it, and I trust her 100%. And I'm really excited about this. This one is more of a, small tribal naval war story from what I understand, and I'm trying to go into it pretty blind, but I've been told by a lot of people that the cover doesn't necessarily represent, some people think it's a romance because of the cover. I personally didn't think that when I saw it the first time, but I also don't immediately assume romance because that's just not how my brain works. Apparently this is quite a gripping military and heart-rending story, which I am 100% here for. I'm really excited to read this, and you know what, Kay, I'm finally here. It's finally on the TBR for this month, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, I do realize that is an ambitious stack for May of 2024, but I'm optimistic because I do think that Iron Gold and Guns of the Dawn will be pretty bingeable. I anticipate The Hobbit being a pretty fast read as well. So I'm not as sure about Nomads, or obviously Dead House is not going to be a speed read, but I feel pretty good about this. I feel like it's a decent stack, and I will have a good chance of getting through everything. But in typical Tori fashion, I figured it wasn't a tall enough stack, so I added a couple kind of maybes on the side just to see if I had extra time and I wanted to continue. So I have a couple more books to show you guys. The first one is Tower Lord by Anthony Ryan. Now, I read Blood Song last month, which is book 1 in the Raven Shadow trilogy. This is book 2. A lot of people absolutely loved, 5-starred, amazing, wonderful, absolutely loved it, Blood Song. A lot of people that said all of those things also really didn't love Tower Lord and the third book, Queen of Fire, and really struggled with it. I'm going into this with no expectations. I really am curious to see where I land personally on this. I know that in the first book, while we have a pretty intimate single character, third person POV, this one branches out into multi-POV, which in and of itself doesn't really bother me, but I'm curious to see which other POVs Anthony Ryan chooses to introduce here and how they add to the story. If it's going to be characters we already know, it's going to be really interesting to see that. So this is book 2, and this would be continuing the Raven Shadow trilogy, which I would really like to finish some trilogies, you guys. That's a whole different video, but I desperately want to actually finish some of the series that I've started this year, so I don't want to wait too long before I get further into Raven's Shadow. So I figured I'd add it to the May TBR, and if I'm really bored and get through everything else really quickly, then I guess I'll finish that one too if I can. And the last one on the list, this is a book that is not fantasy or sci-fi that I've actually been reading slowly for like 3 years, I think now. It hasn't been on my Goodreads currently reading for a very long time. I took it off ages ago because I knew it was going to be a slow read. And I've just been taking it literally a few pages at a time. And that is I Never Promised You a Rose Garden by Joanne Greenberg. This is the story, partially fictionalized, of a young woman who is struggling very severely with schizophrenia. And she's in a mental health ward. There are some outside moments where we're getting the perspective of her doctor and her parents, but a lot of this is in Deborah, the main character's head, and it's a trip, you guys. It is a lot to wrap your brain around, and it is a lot to input, and it is very emotionally draining to read. And as you can see, in 3 years, I've gotten almost halfway through. So I would like to finish it because it's been sitting there with its dollar bill bookmark on my shelf for 3 years, and I would really like to finish this book. If I have time and I'm bored, which I probably won't be, but I wanted to throw this on here as a, hey, I'd really like to finish this kind of note to myself. So that is my plan for May. I'll be reading these things. I may or may not be vlogging some of them. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. But I'm excited about it, and I'm really looking forward to sharing my thoughts with you guys, and I feel like this is a really strong lineup of books for me to read in May. I'm really excited to get going. I can't wait. And it'll be nice to just delve into a bunch of books that I know are going to be my type of storytelling for the most part. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are excited about it. Let me know down in the comments which of these you are most excited for me to get to. And also let me know what you're planning on reading in May, because if you have a TBR, I want to hear about it. Let me know down in the comments. And thank you guys for watching. If you like my channel and my content, please like and subscribe on the videos, because that's what I'm supposed to tell you to do. I really appreciate the engagement on the channel. You guys, the comments section in my videos is just amazing. All of these wonderful long comments about what you guys are reading and how you feel about all the different topics that I bring up on the channel. It is really lovely to read through them all, and I try to respond to as many as I can as fast as I can. But I just want to thank you guys sincerely for all of the engagement that you bring to my channel, because that is why I do this, and I love to see all your comments come filtering in. So thank you so much for that. But I hope you guys have a stacked and wonderful TBR for May if you are into TBRs, and if you're not, I hope whatever you decide to mood read brings you a lot of joy. And I hope you're having a great week, and I'll see you in the next video.